This installment of this YouTube channel is another Mississippi Delta hunting story from the pages of Forest and Stream, a popular outdoor magazine of the late 1800s and early 1900s. This one, written by an author who signed the article only with the pseudonym Steele's Bio, names a number of men who were hunting in Issaquena County, Mississippi, about 40 or 50 miles north of Vicksburg, in the early 1880s. If you recognize any of the names or know any of the descendants of the men named, please let me know by leaving a comment. Also, if you enjoy this story or any of the others in this series, please hit like, subscribe, and share. Thank you. Forest and Stream, February 1st, 1883. The Canebrakes of Issaquena. The cotton planter and his sons are, as a general thing, fond of their guns, rods, dogs, and horses, and in this part of the country are blessed with the land teeming with game and fish, offering unequaled facilities for frequent sport. In hunting the larger game, bear and deer, as well as the smaller, the dog takes an important part, in fact, the principal one. Such being the case, it may interest your readers to describe the favorite dog for the several occasions. First is the bear dog, a mongrel, part cur and part hound, full cur, full hound, a motley collection. The trail dogs are usually full hound, although it is questioned by some whether the full hound or half pointer and half hound is the best for this purpose. Be this as it may, the packs I have in view are led by full hound, English stag, and Virginia foxhound, and they are capital ones too. The fighting dogs, those who do the heaviest work, are generally of the mongrel kind, terriers, curs, hounds, etc., mixed and intermixed until it would be difficult to trace distinctions. Bruin stands a poor show in a contest with these fellows, and generally trees after a race of an hour or so, and then is easily shot by the hunter. Now and then a tough customer is roused, and a square fight with the dogs is made, usually ending in Bruin's defeat. At another short race, a second stand and fight, another run, and so on, until some fortunate hunter gets into the fight in time to get in a shot, which terminates in the death of Bruin. The victory is signaled by the call blow, sounded from the horn. This call blow consists of 3 long, distinct blows or sounds from the horn. The hunters congregate upon the spot, and after each one has related his particular adventures during the chase, and all of the incidents of the chase have been related, the bear is placed upon a mule and sent to camp, while the rested dogs and hunters proceed to repeat the fun by jumping another bear. The dense canebrakes make this sport partake somewhat of the hardest kind of work, and nothing but the keenest relish for the excitement of the sport would urge a person to indulge in it. Yet it is the finest sport of all our hunting. Once you try it, it sticks, and the fondness for it will not shake or wear off. The blood-curdling stories told of the bear's dangerous fighting qualities are a humbug, for unless he be badly wounded and cannot get away, he is, next to the panther, the veriest coward that infests our forests. There is no danger in him except to your dogs. These he handles pretty roughly, and many of them are killed. Scarcely a chase occurs, but some of the dogs are seriously wounded or killed. Especially is this the case if your dogs are any of them green in the business. We use in the bear chase every description of gun. My friend Smith and the members of our club mostly use breech-loading shotguns, 12-gauge with round balls. This gun is certainly the best for the purpose, and the hammerless would be especially so, since the danger of accidents by the hammers being caught against the cane and the gun discharged is removed. Several of our bear hunters prefer the breech-loading rifle used in the Army and commonly called the needle gun. None of Burns' pistols are used here, Burn being the pen name of an outdoor writer who wrote frequently from the Delta country of Arkansas. All are armed, in addition to the gun, with heavy hunting knives, which are used mostly for cutting a way through the dense cane. The deer driving is made with full-blooded hounds, English stag and foxhound preferred. Sometimes the hunter is placed upon stands along the favorite runs, and the deer is shot as he is driven by. But this feature of deer hunting finds little favor here, as to occupy a stand means the loss of the best part of the sport, which is the helter-skelter ride through the timber, a perfect steeplechase, with the music of the hound's voice thrown in to add zest to the excitement. This is to the hunter's music indeed. I've tried it and know. 15 or 20 hounds in full cry make soul-stirring music to the hunter's ear. In our drives, every man must look out for himself. Each one's chances for a shot is equal to that of the others, provided all are equally well mounted. It is a race, as usual, rewarded to the practiced and swiftest, who heads the deer and kills him if he can. It isn't done every time, I assure you. Deer were so plentiful here before the overflow last spring that our chases were generally short. But frequently, if a deer gets out of the usual ground covered by the drive, he is allowed to go in peace. The dogs are recalled, and another deer started. Sometimes in the course of one day's hunt, 20 deer are chased. And right here let me say that the very next, or at longest, the day after the hunt, you could go over the same ground and run out the same deer, or as many as on the first day, presumably the same deer. The deer were never frightened away by driving with hounds. Try it here and you will be convinced. Sometimes in our hunts we start a panther, one of those large, ugly brutes that are so frightful to gaze upon, measuring often 9 feet from nose to tip of the tail. When we strike these fellows, the race is short and sweet. The cowardly rascal will take to the first tree, like his cousin the cat, and is easily shot. It sometimes happens, however, that he does not tree, especially if he is surprised by the dogs and caught before he has time to shin up a tree. When this happens, you may count on some good fighting and a dozen dead and wounded dogs, for an average-sized panther can whip all the dogs you can crowd upon him. Several years ago, a party of us was on a camp hunt in the lower end of this county. We were after deer and bagged 11 in 4 days. On the morning we had appointed to break camp, we were up early, preparing to have a short drive before leaving. After going about 500 yards from camp, we came upon a freshly killed doe that had been partly devoured by some animal, which had evidently been frightened by our approach and had concealed itself. The dogs coming up soon found the trail, but seemed loath to follow it, displaying uneasiness and fear by their bristling backs and their growls. But one favorite, Old Jack, a pointer hound, came up, took the trail, and bravely led off the chase. When once started, the whole pack were off in a hurry, and we followed close. A race of 100 yards brought into full view a magnificent young panther, which manifested no desire for a race, but a stubborn determination for a fight. She did not have long to wait. The dogs, once over their fright, were in for it, and some seized her ladyship, and then the fun began. According to their usual fighting tactics, she lay upon her back, feet up, and her 4 feet, containing 20 claws as sharp as razors, fairly made dog meat and hair fly. Panther and dogs were so completely mixed that we were compelled to withhold our shots for fear of killing more dog than panther. Every second a dog would crawl out satisfied. The fight lasted only a few seconds when Walter Smith, one of the party, got in a shot that satisfied the panther and ended the fight. Several severely crippled dogs and 1 dead panther were the list of casualties. There are many of these killed annually here yet. One was killed within half a mile of my dwelling by E.V. Miller that measured 9 feet from nose to tip of tail. 3 were seen on the same ground last spring and became quite a terror to the tenants living on this and adjoining plantations. These three panthers came near ridding the county of that nuisance, the yaller cur, that infested it by the hundreds, every tenant owning at least three. The panthers killed quite a number and devoured them. In fact, the dogs were the principal food of these animals while they remained. The brutes finally became such a terror that Friend Smith was called in with his bear dogs and drove them off, failing to kill any one of them. My dwelling stands in the center of 200 acres of cultivated field, and the tracks of these panthers were made within 200 yards of the house. So much for bear, deer, panther, and the dogs used to hunt them. R.M. Smith, Jr., W.J. Smith, F.W. Allen, John Stem, Mr. Westcott, and R.B. Phipps are now out for a week's camp hunt for bears, and will doubtless bag 5 or 6. 2 were killed last week by W.F. Allen, Lee Smith, and R.B. Phipps on a 2-day hunt. This swells the record of the hunt to the present time to 87 bears. R.M. Smith, Jr. was in at the death of every one of these except 2. How is that for bear hunting? It was not a good time for bear either. Quail are plentiful, and good bags can be made any day. Our favorite dog for this sport is the pointer, because of his short hair. The setter loses too much time pulling cockleburs from his long hair. More anon. Signed, Steele's Bio, Issaquena County, Mississippi. If you enjoyed this story, be sure to listen to the others in this series if you haven't done so already, and visit our webpage, Canebrakes.com, and check out the material and books available there. And please don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe, comment, and share. Thank you.